Seahawks fans, stop what you're doing, because the last 24 hours around this team just flipped the entire mood of the season on its head. Decisions are being made behind closed doors, key information is being hidden on purpose, and suddenly the balance of power heading into the weekend feels completely different. There's pressure, there's uncertainty, and there's a growing sense that Seattle might be catching momentum at the perfect possible time. Coaches are being forced to adjust, opponents are playing mind games, and the ripple effects could be massive once kickoff arrives. Nothing about this situation is random and nothing should be ignored. If you want to understand why this week suddenly matters way more than expected, hit subscribe, smash that like, and stay right here. Let me start by saying this loud, clear, and with my chest. Mike Macdonald just crossed a line. Not a bad one, not a reckless one, but a line that officially puts him squarely in the Coach of the Year conversation. And if you're still hesitating to admit that, then you're not watching Seahawks football closely enough. Because what has happened in Seattle over the last several weeks is no longer a nice story, no longer a rebuilding curiosity, no longer some cute schematic experiment. This is domination with intent, and it has Macdonald's fingerprints all over it. You don't accidentally build a defense that erases touchdowns in back-to-back weeks. You don't stumble into a unit that flips games in 5-minute stretches, that breaks opponents mentally before they break them physically. That is coaching, that is preparation, that is accountability. And when I look around the NFL landscape right now, I see a lot of good coaches doing respectable jobs. What I see in Seattle is something different. I see a first-year head coach setting a standard so high that even his own locker room sounds stunned by how fast it's taken hold. Let's talk about context, because Coach of the Year is about circumstance as much as results. Macdonald didn't inherit a finished product. He didn't walk into a ready-made juggernaut with a Hall of Fame quarterback and an autopilot roster. He walked into a franchise at a crossroads with a defense that needed identity, an offense trying to redefine itself, and a fanbase desperate for belief. And what did he do? He installed a culture where effort on the field goal block unit is treated like a final exam, where rookies like Nikimanwari are not eased in gently but unleashed with responsibility, where Devon Witherspoon isn't just talented, he's empowered. And here's what really elevates Macdonald for me, the adaptability. While the headlines talk about the Colts keeping their quarterback situation close to the vest, while Indianapolis rules out starters and tries to play games with information, Macdonald is sitting back unfazed. Why? Because his team doesn't need to know everything to dominate. His defense doesn't rely on guessing. It relies on discipline, spacing, anticipation, and violence at the point of attack. That's why it doesn't matter who lines up under center for the Colts. Rookie, backup, emergency option, it all looks the same when the pocket collapses and throwing lanes disappear. But don't get it twisted, this isn't just about defense. This is about command. Even with the Seahawks losing a coach for the season and Macdonald keeping details private, the machine hasn't sputtered. No leaks, no excuses, no emotional instability. That tells me everything I need to know about leadership. When adversity hits and the operation keeps humming, that's not coincidence, that's structure. That's an organization responding to the tone set at the top. Now I know some folks want to say, let's wait until January. And to that I say, nonsense. Coach of the Year isn't about waiting for perfection, it's about recognizing impact. Right now, Seattle is 10-3, has won 7 of its last 8, and is doing it with a style that travels, defense, special teams, situational awareness. That's playoff football, and Macdonald has them playing it before the calendar even flips. Meanwhile, he's doing this while elevating young players, maximizing depth, and making his veterans buy into a system that demands constant communication. What scares the rest of the league is this: it feels sustainable. This doesn't look like smoke and mirrors. It looks like a foundation being poured in real time. When rookies are tipped to stick to tight ends like glue, when game plans sound surgical instead of reactive, when the quarterback openly says he trusts the defense to hold it down, that's coaching alignment. That's buy-in. And that, my friends, is how awards are won. So as Seattle heads into Indianapolis with the Colts wounded, uncertain, and scrambling for answers, I'm not just watching the standings. I'm watching the sideline. I'm watching Mike Macdonald calmly orchestrate another week of preparation, knowing his team reflects him. And if this keeps up, if this standard doesn't dip, then by season's end the question won't be whether he deserves Coach of the Year. The question will be who else even has an argument. Now I want to hear from you, Seahawks fans. Has Mike Macdonald already proven he's the right man to lead this franchise for the next decade? Or do you still need to see more before fully buying in? Drop your thoughts, debate it loud, and don't hold back. And while you're at it, subscribe, like, and stay locked in because Seattle football just got very, very serious.